Two raised cedar beds sitting side by side on the same green backyard lawn. Same length, same width. From the top, they look completely identical, but one of them cost about $213 more to fill than the other. And here is the part that will get you. Your plants will never even touch most of that extra soil you paid for. I see this in almost every beginner garden I visit, and it quietly drains hundreds of dollars out of people who are just trying to grow a few tomatoes. The culprit is bed depth. There is this idea floating around that deeper soil always means healthier plants and bigger harvests. For the crops most of us actually grow, that is mostly just not true. Come closer, because once you see the math, you will never overbuild a bed again. Let me show you exactly where that money goes, because it is really very simple once you see it. A raised bed has 3 measurements: length, width, and depth. Now picture a classic 4-foot by 8-foot bed, the most popular size there is. That footprint, the length times the width, never changes. It is locked in the moment you screw the frame together. So the only number that moves the amount of soil up or down is depth. That is the whole secret. Your soil cost is tied directly to depth and almost nothing else. Watch what happens as we go deeper. Fill that 4-foot by 8-foot bed 6 inches deep, and you need 16 cubic feet of soil. Bump it to 12 inches, and it jumps to 32 cubic feet. At 18 inches, that is 48 cubic feet. And at 24 inches deep, you are hauling in 64 cubic feet. Sit with that for a second. A 24-inch bed needs exactly 4 times the soil of a 6-inch bed. Same lawn, same footprint, 4 times the dirt. Now let's put real dollars on it. At the garden center, a popular bag of organic raised bed soil runs right around $10 for a 1.5 cubic foot bag. That works out to about $6.65 per cubic foot. So filling your bed 6 inches deep costs around $100 in bags. A 12-inch bed costs about $213, and a 24-inch bed costs right around $426. Just in soil, just for one bed. So when you double a 4x8 bed from 12 inches to 24 inches, you are throwing in about $213 extra dollars. And that $213 is more than enough to build and fill a whole second 12-inch bed. You are basically paying for a second garden and getting nothing back but buried soil your roots ignore. But before you grab a shovel and tear your beds down to 6 inches, hold on, because depth really does matter for some plants. Let's talk about exactly which ones. So, how deep do your plants actually root? This is where it gets fun, because the answer honestly surprised me when I first dug into it. Let me break your whole garden into 3 simple groups. First, the shallow rooters: lettuce, spinach, radishes, green onions, strawberries, and most of your herbs. These guys are perfectly happy in just 6 inches of soil. 6. A head of lettuce does almost all of its feeding in the top 2 or 3 inches. So if you built a 24-inch bed for a salad garden, your lettuce is living in the top 6 inches and completely ignoring the 18 inches of expensive soil underneath it. Next, the medium group, and this is where most of your vegetables live. Carrots, beans, beets, peppers, cabbage, broccoli, and cucumbers. Most of these root down to around 18 inches. Carrots especially want about 12 inches of loose, rock-free soil so the root can push straight down instead of forking into a tangled little mess. Give them that, and you will pull up long, gorgeous carrots all season long. And finally, the deep rooters. This is a short list, so pay attention. Tomatoes, squash, melons, and pumpkins genuinely want 24 inches or more to stretch out, and so does asparagus. These are really the only common crops where serious depth pays you back. But there is one more thing that changes this entire picture, and a lot of new gardeners never hear about it. If your raised bed sits right on the ground, on actual soil, not on concrete, and you leave the bottom of the frame open, your plant roots do not stop at the bottom of the box. They keep right on going, straight down into the native earth below. Your tomato is not trapped in a container. It is using your bed soil and the ground underneath it. So a lot of the time, you do not need to buy all that depth because nature already handed you a free basement. Pretty great, right? Now, I promised you honesty, and I meant it. I am not telling you that deep beds are always a waste. That would be just as wrong as the myth we're busting. There are real, legitimate reasons to build a tall, deep bed, and I want you to know every one of them so you can make the right call for your own garden. First, if you're growing those deep-rooted crops, the tomatoes, the squash, the melons, then give them the depth. They will reward you for it. Second, if your bed is sitting on a hard surface, a concrete patio, a gravel driveway, a rooftop balcony, the roots can't escape downward through concrete, so the height of your bed is the only root zone your plants get. Up there, 24 inches isn't waste. It's the whole house. Third, if your native soil is genuinely awful, solid compacted clay, bedrock just under the surface, or ground you suspect is contaminated with something like lead near an old home, a deeper bed of clean soil gives roots room they simply cannot find below. Fourth, drainage. If you garden on a soggy low spot, more height lifts your roots up out of the wet so they don't sit there and drown. And fifth, your back. This one is purely for you, not the plants. A taller bed means a lot less bending and kneeling. If that's the difference between you gardening happily for years or quitting because your knees are screaming, then build it tall and don't apologize to anybody. The point of this whole video isn't to go shallow. It doesn't pay to fill depth that your plants and your soil don't actually need. So let me show you how to get all that height for almost nothing. Here's what you need to do, and the first fix is the easiest win in your entire garden. Stop buying soil in bags. I know those tidy bags stacked on the pallet at the store are convenient. You toss them in the cart, you drive them home. But you are paying a steep premium for that convenience. Once you need more than about 10 bags, and trust me, even one decent bed swallows more than that, bagged soil becomes one of the most expensive ways there is to fill a garden. Instead, call a local landscape supply yard and order your soil in bulk by the cubic yard. 1 cubic yard is a big, beautiful pile of soil dumped in your driveway, and it is roughly the same as 18 of those 1.5 cubic foot bags. And the price? A good bulk soil or compost blend usually lands somewhere in the range of $30 to $70 a cubic yard, depending on where you live and what is in the mix. You will pay a delivery fee on top of that, often somewhere around $50 to $150 a load, though plenty of yards deliver close by for much less. Run that math, and ordering in bulk can cut your cost by roughly 40 to 60% compared to buying the same volume in bags. Grab a wheelbarrow, talk a friend into helping you move the pile, and you have just saved yourself a small fortune. Anyone can do this. And hey, if this is already saving you money, do me a quick favor and tap that subscribe button. I share practical, no-nonsense gardening tips like this one every single week. All right, now for the big one. This is the trick that saves the most money of all. So, you've got a tall bed, maybe because you want those deep-rooted crops, or maybe you just want to save your back. You do not have to fill all 24 inches with premium soil. Here's the move. You fill the bottom of that bed with free material, and you only put the good stuff where the roots actually live, right up top. Gardeners call this Hügelkultur, and it sounds fancy, but the idea is wonderfully simple. Picture a cross-section of the bed. Down at the bottom, you pile in logs, branches, and sticks, all that woody debris from pruning your trees. That fills the bottom 40 to 50% of your bed for absolutely nothing. Then you cover it over with soil. As those logs slowly break down over the next few years, they release nutrients and they soak up water like a giant sponge, which means you water less. It's a beautiful thing to watch happen. No logs lying around? Then do the lasagna method instead. Lay down flattened cardboard at the very bottom, then a thick layer of dry autumn leaves, straw, or grass clippings, then your soil on top. Heaviest, slowest stuff on the bottom, your fine soil up top. Now listen closely, because this is the one rule you absolutely cannot break. You layer that woody material underneath the soil. You never, ever mix it in. And here's why that matters so much. When fresh wood starts to decompose, it temporarily pulls nitrogen out of the soil right around it. And nitrogen is exactly what your plants need to grow lush and green. Mix wood chips into your root zone, and you'll get sad, stunted, yellowing plants that just sit there. Keep the wood layered way down at the bottom, well away from the roots, and you sidestep that whole problem completely. So, how much real soil do you keep on top? For your shallow crops, keep at least 8 inches of good soil above the debris. For deep-rooted plants like tomatoes, give them around 17 inches on top. Do that, and you can slash the amount of soil you actually buy by up to roughly 80% on a tall bed. 80%! 2 honest heads-ups, though, because I'd never leave you hanging. First, a bed full of organic matter is going to settle. Fresh soil drops around 15 to 20% in that first year alone, so fill it a little proud, add 10 to 20% extra, and be ready to top it off later. And second, because it settles so much, don't plant perennials like asparagus or strawberries in a freshly layered bed in year 1. Let it settle and sink first, then put them in. In the future, you will be so grateful. Before I let you go, 2 quick bonus mistakes I see all the time, and they are both easy to dodge once you know about them. The first is the gravel myth. You've probably heard that you should throw a layer of rocks or gravel at the bottom of your bed for drainage. Please do not. Soil scientists have busted this one, and the reason is fascinating. Water will not drain out of fine soil into a coarse layer of gravel until that soil above is completely soaked through. So instead of helping water escape, the gravel actually creates what is called a perched water table. The water just sits there, parked right in your root zone, keeping it soggier than if you had done nothing at all. You waste money on rocks, you waste precious bed depth, and you can rot your plant's roots. Just skip the gravel entirely. The second mistake is building your bed too wide. I get it, a big wide bed looks like more growing space. But if you cannot comfortably reach the middle from the side, you will end up stepping right into the bed to weed and harvest. And every single time you step on that soil, you compact it, you crush out the little air pockets your roots need to breathe, and you undo the entire point of a raised bed. So keep your beds to about 4 feet wide if you can reach them from both sides. If your bed is shoved up against a wall or a fence where you can only get at it from one side, keep it down to about 2.5 feet. Your back and your soil will both thank you. So let's bring it all home. The depth of your bed is the single biggest thing driving your soil bill, and most of your plants are perfectly happy somewhere between 6 and 18 inches. Build the extra height if you truly need it, for deep-rooted crops, for a concrete surface, or just for your aching back. But do not pay to fill it with expensive bagged soil. Order in bulk, layer free wood and leaves down at the bottom, and keep the good stuff up top where your roots really live. Do that, and you will grow just as much food for a fraction of the cost. See, I told you anyone can do this. Now, if you want to go deeper on getting cheap, high-quality soil delivered to your door, I made a whole video walking you through exactly how to source bulk soil and build a Hügelkultur bed step by step. Go watch that one next, and I will see you out in the garden.